Hi, hello, good people. Thank you so much for coming back to this channel. This is Celia Mutsuning Zengele again, and today I want us to talk about things that we get so much in denial about. I want us to talk about the red flags that we fail to recognize as such when they first do appear in relationships. And for me to refer you to this, I'll start with my own experience. In my own experience, in my own marriage, there were red flags that I chose to ignore, which is something that many of us do. The first one is I think 2 weeks into our dating, he asked me out. We went out to a restaurant somewhere. Then after, we went to a nice park after. While we were there, we had a nice conversation. We started by whispering small nothings to each other. It was very nice. And then soon we got into serious things. We spoke about a little bit serious things, our childhood things that bothered us, and so on. Now, among all these things that we spoke about, he mentioned that one of his sisters or cousins had raped him while he was 8 years old. So, as you know, as Africans, usually when we grow up with our aunts' children, like bana ba bo mmangwane, bana ba bo mamoholo, if we're living together, we don't call them ka Sesotho that they are our cousins. Yes, it's cousins in English, but in Sesotho, our cousins are our sisters if they are ladies, and if they are male, they are our brothers. We all know that. So, because as he explained, in his family, he grew up with a lot of her aunts' children, male and female. So he referred to them as sisters and brothers. Now, because he told me that one of those sisters, which included his biological sister as well, so he wouldn't tell me at the time which particular sister raped him while he was 8. Okay, that was the first flag. It was the first red flag. But would I have hold it against him? No, because I felt he was a victim, which a lot of us are taking for granted and not realizing that a lot of people that turn into perpetrators in their adulthood is because in their childhood they did experience the same violation that they are perpetrating when they are adults. So he was molested, sexually molested. He was raped as a child by a very close relative, which at the time he referred as a sister, which I don't know whether it was a biological sister or a sister in terms of a cousin. Fine. That was one of the red flags, which I felt at the time it was nothing, because on top of him being looking like a victim at the time, because he was telling me from a point of being a victim at the time. Besides that, he was now a Jehovah's Witness. He was now a man of God. He was now a man that is taught high morals from the Bible. So I took it that whatever pain he had, whatever childhood he had, the Bible would have fixed whatever it is to him. Because by then, I won't lie, I was already a teacher. And as part of teaching, I had done a little bit of psychology. And that little bit of psychology had already taught me that people repeat the the kind of behaviors that they learned from their childhood. If it was violence, they usually turn into violent people. Not like all the time, but it's highly likely that a person may turn into a violent person when they are adults, if they have witnessed violence in their childhood. Now, he had witnessed not just violence, he had also witnessed sexual violence to himself because he was raped. So he was highly likely to show the same behavior in his adulthood. But my mind, that was taught by Jehovah's Witnesses, told me that the Bible reaches a point where all the behaviors, all the things that we learned from our childhood, all the bad things that we have learned before can just disappear because they are uprooted by the word of God. That's what we were taught. Then the other red flag that I may have seen earlier on that this is not a good thing is this guy was not into me like I was into him. Number one, he lived about within 1 kilometer away from my home at that time. His home was only 1 kilometer away from my home, but we would spend almost 2 weeks without seeing each other. Not even a reason given, nothing. And at the time, we didn't have cell phones, so he wouldn't say anything for the whole 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, he would just pitch up and pop up from nowhere, and I'll be just happy that he is here. To me, it didn't look like, why is this person not here? Is this person missing me the way I am missing him in his absence? I didn't ask those questions. Whenever I saw him, I was like, I'm happy he did remember me, he did miss me. And I didn't even make a fuss about where do you come from, why were you not here, and so on and so on. Fine. That was red flag number 2. Red flag number 3 that I just painted green was him being invited to 2 weddings during our engagement. And he told me straight on my face, that I'm invited alone, I'm not taking you with. It hurt me. It did hurt me a lot, but I didn't want to show him that I'm hurt by that. I don't know why, but I don't know. But I think one of the things that I've realized in Jehovah's Witnesses groups is because there aren't many male figures. The pool is very small, particularly in terms of males. As females, we are far more than males. So if there is a male that shows interest in you, you hang on, you hang on for a dear life to this guy. That this guy can get away with anything because now, wow, remember, we have to marry only within the congregation. So if it so happened that there's this one guy that shows interest in me, oh my goodness, I have to use everything that I have to show that I'm the good wife. I will be the good wife. I will be the good and obedient and humble wife that he deserves. Hence, you didn't make a fuss about things that at the time you think they are small. But later on in life, you do realize that these were indications that this person actually wasn't into me like I was into him. Because in marriage, you learn something that if you get into marriage with somebody that does not love you the same way you love them, there will be problems. Because the one that loves too much will have to be the one that compromises too much into that relationship. It will be your duty to make sure that you put things right, you make everything to be right. And then one other red flag that I remember that I did paint green was now into marriage, very early into marriage, after we married. I think in our first year of marriage, he out of the blue just told me that he suspected that his brother was sexually molesting his own daughter, who was 7 at the time. And I looked at him and like, what are you saying? Like, how can that happen? For me, it was like too far-fetched. It was something that is impossible to happen to anyone. No person who is a father, who is a biological parent of the child, can ever sexually violate the child. And because he saw me jumping and asking, why are you saying that? And like, I think he may have seen the shock that I showed. He decided not to ponder into it more than he already insinuated. He was like, it's just a feeling that I had that he could be doing that. Now, why, as a father, would he have such a hunch that his own biological brother may have been sexually violating his own daughter? Those things should have been like red flags. What kind of a family am I married into? What kind of people are capable of doing that to their children? Although I don't think there's anything that I would have done different, but from a point that I'm sitting now, I see that those were red flags. Because later on it would appear that actually for them this was highly likely to happen. It was something that was happening a lot in their family, to a point where one of the brothers married a, a an aunt's child. The aunt's, like, in other words, the mother and the younger sister of the mother, they did that their children married each other. So in other words, in Sesotho, let me put it in Sesotho, like nna ngwanaka le ngwana wa ngwana heso ba nyalane, o thola hore my son married ngwana wa ngwana heso. So it happened. So in other words, I married into a family that did not have boundaries, like that did not see the other, whereas they grew up together, but they did not see the other as blood. They did not see each other as, I cannot even look at her that way because we are like the same blood. So those were red flags that may have opened my eyes, that if I did not paint them green, I wouldn't be sitting where I am right now. Even though I do not regret a lot of the things that I passed through, because they made me who I am. The experiences that I had, they made me who I am. Now, why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because as women, there are many things that are red flags that we do see, they are facing us, but we don't want to accept that actually these things may lead us to paths that are not good for us. Denial takes place, blaming others takes place. If you can look at my t-shirt, it says people are bewitching our relationship. You find that immediately you get into a relationship with a person, even before you decide to be exclusive, there is a lot of jealousy going on. There is also a lot of squabbles going on into the relationship, and there is also signs of violence. There are claps flying the sky, between the two of you, that tell you that we are already in a toxic relationship. And one of the reasons that people put as reasons for staying in abusive relationships or toxic relationships, they would say, no, but we're a lawyer. People are bewitching us. Ba jealous, baby. Ba jealous for relationship ya rona. Ba bona re matcha, ba bona re le happy, ba bona re le jwang jwang. Guys, is it true? Now, the very same mentality of us believing that we are being bewitched by other people, shifting the blame to other people, whereas the relationship is about us. It's about where we come from as a couple, because we're coming from two different backgrounds. Already as a child, the mother was beating the lights out of the mother, and the child was witness to that. And that child did not receive any kind of intervention. That child did not receive any kind of counseling. That child did not receive any form of a change of view to see that what they witnessed as children were not good, that in their adulthood they've got to do things differently than what they witnessed as children. Therefore, they bring exactly the same toxicity that they learned as children. Now, it becomes even worse if it becomes two people coming from similar backgrounds but different places. Here's a female coming from a point of a family that had violence. The father was beating up the lights out of the mother. Here is a guy that was a son of a father that was beating the lights out of the mother. And these people come with, the other one comes with the toxicity from their home, and the other one comes with the same toxicity from their home, and now they mix. That kind of a relationship is bound to explode, because it's built on two souls that are damaged, that are explosive because of what they have seen. So immediately the other one notices something that looks like the violence they witnessed as a child, they would just like adopt methods that they may have seen, or they may be like, ain't gonna happen to me. And the other one says, ain't gonna happen to me. As a result, we see explosions that end up with femicides, where we see either the husband or the wife or lovers killing each other. Even when you are born from a family that did not have violence, and you come into a relationship or a union with somebody that has witnessed violence as children, and no kind of intervention was ever introduced into their lives, you are bound to be injured. You are bound to suffer the injuries, internal injuries, in emotional injuries that may last you a lifetime, even when you come here from a home that did not have that. So we absolutely have to now, in the next video, talk about how do we differentiate between squabbles that are just natural in relationships, because even in relationships we cannot always be like, hi, it's okay darling, I love you. It cannot always be like that. There will be times when we have clashes, when we have minor clashes, when we have minor differences in perspectives, where we have and it will still be okay. Like, I want to say, if you are in a relationship that is not toxic, does not mean everything goes well every day is hallelujah, amen. It's not hi baby, I love you. It's not smiles every day. Even the most strongest relationships that are non-toxic will not be peaceful every day. So how do we know that some squabbles are now just ordinary, or some squabbles are now going towards the side of the toxic? That is the next video that we'll be talking about. And how do we notice the red flags? And what should we do when we see red flags? Are we gonna take the green paint and just go and paint them green so that we can stop calling them red flags? We say, no, they are green. I brought the green paint. I painted that red into green. Is it what it should be? Oh, now, thank you so much for today. Tell me if you did like this video, or if you didn't like this video. Please share it if you did like it, and it may help someone else. And remember to subscribe. And if you are a retainee, thank you so much for spending your data again on this video. And watch out for the next video. We'll be discussing the difference between ordinary squabbles in a relationship and a toxic relationship. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.